Strength, it's not always loud or visible, but it's there, shaping you, pushing you forward, even when life throws its hardest punches. Today we're diving into 10 hidden signs you possess incredible strength, traits that prove you're stronger than you think. Let's uncover your hidden power, right now. Sign 1, you keep going despite fear. Fear is a formidable adversary. It whispers doubts, paralyzes dreams, and chains potential. But let me tell you something, fear is also the ultimate litmus test of strength. When you push forward despite its weight pressing on your chest, you reveal a power within yourself that few are willing to claim. This is not about pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about standing toe-to-toe with it and moving forward anyway. You see, fear isn't the enemy, it's a compass. It points directly at what matters most. The things that scare you the most are often the things that hold the key to your growth. And if you're the kind of person who takes one shaky step after another despite feeling terrified, let me be clear. You are stronger than you think. You are unstoppable. Think about it. How many people let fear dictate their lives? How many abandon their dreams because the unknown feels too daunting? Most people stop at the edge of fear, turning back when they feel uncomfortable. But not you. You are different. Even when fear tells you to quit, you choose to rise. You know that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite it, and that takes guts, resilience, and a level of determination that sets you apart. Let's dig deeper into what this means. When you push through fear, you're not just proving your bravery, you're rewiring your brain. Every step you take, despite fear, reinforces the belief that you are capable, that you are strong, and that no obstacle is insurmountable. Over time, fear stops being a roadblock and starts becoming fuel. Imagine that. A life where fear no longer controls you, but propels you forward. That's the strength you're cultivating every time you push through. But let's not sugarcoat it. It's not easy. Fear doesn't just vanish when you decide to act. It lingers. It taunts you. It tries to make you second-guess every move. That's when your strength truly shines. You don't let those voices win. Instead, you take a deep breath, square your shoulders, and remind yourself that nothing great was ever achieved from a place of comfort. This is your defining moment. Every time you choose to act despite fear, you build a legacy of resilience. You inspire others, whether you realize it or not. People watch those who conquer their fears, and they are drawn to that kind of courage. They see you as a beacon of what's possible. Think about how powerful that is. Your decision to push forward doesn't just transform your life, it ripples outward, giving others permission to do the same. And let's talk about what lies on the other side of fear. It's freedom, it's opportunity, it's the life you've always dreamed of living. Fear creates illusions. It tells you that you're not ready, not capable, not worthy. But every step you take proves those lies wrong. Every time you move forward, you dismantle the walls fear tries to build around you. And what's left? A clearer path to your goals, a stronger sense of self, and an unshakable confidence that no one can take away from you. So here's your challenge. The next time fear rises, don't run, don't shrink, stand tall. Feel the fear, acknowledge it, and then take action anyway. Whether it's making a difficult decision, speaking your truth, or chasing a goal that feels out of reach, let fear guide you to what truly matters. Use it as a signal that you're stepping into something bigger than yourself. Because here's the truth. Fear only has power if you let it. When you take away its control, it becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. And with every step you take, you become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. Let this be the moment you decide to embrace your fear, not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity to prove just how powerful you are. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There is no such thing. Don't wait for fear to fade. It rarely does. Instead, move forward boldly, knowing that the strength you seek is already within you. This is your time. Show the world what you're made of. Keep going despite fear. Keep rising despite doubt. Because the person who acts in the face of fear is not just strong, they are unstoppable. And that person is you. Sign 2. You choose growth over comfort. Let me be brutally honest. Comfort is a trap. It feels warm, safe, and familiar, but it will suffocate your potential if you let it. Real strength, the kind that shapes lives, transforms dreams into reality, and sets extraordinary people apart, comes from choosing growth over comfort every single time. If you're the kind of person who steps outside your comfort zone, who willingly walks into the unknown to become something more, then let me tell you, you possess a level of strength that many will never reach. Choosing growth over comfort isn't just a decision, it's a declaration. It's you telling the world that you refuse to settle, that you're committed to being better than you were yesterday. And let me be clear, that takes guts. Why? Because growth is painful. It demands sacrifice. It forces you to confront your flaws, weaknesses, and fears. Growth doesn't come wrapped in ribbons. It comes with challenges that push you to the brink of what you think you can handle. And yet here you are, choosing to face those challenges head on. That's power. That's resilience. That's strength. The world we live in doesn't encourage growth. It sells the illusion of ease, comfort, and instant gratification. But you've seen through the facade. You understand that nothing worthwhile comes without effort. You've learned that the path to true greatness is paved with discomfort. Every time you stretch yourself beyond what feels safe, you expand your capacity for greatness. Every time you choose the hard road, you prove to yourself and the world that you are capable of more. Think about what that means. When you prioritize growth, you step into a version of yourself that others only dream about. You learn new skills, adapt to new situations, and overcome obstacles that once seemed impossible. You evolve. And with every evolution, you build a foundation of strength that can weather any storm. That's what separates you from the rest. The willingness to endure discomfort for the sake of becoming better. But let's not sugarcoat this. It's not easy. Growth is messy, uncomfortable, and sometimes downright painful. It means admitting when you're wrong, asking for help when you're stuck, and failing, sometimes repeatedly, until you get it right. It's not glamorous, but it's real. And if you've chosen growth over comfort, then you've already proven you have the courage to endure those growing pains. What's truly remarkable is how choosing growth affects every area of your life. Professionally, it means taking on challenges that others avoid, asking for that promotion, starting that business, or learning a new skill when it feels intimidating. Personally, it means having the difficult conversations, walking away from toxic relationships, or embracing change when everything inside you wants to cling to the familiar. Growth is transformative. And by choosing it, you're transforming not just your circumstances, but who you are at your core. Here's what most people don't realize. Comfort is fleeting. That cozy, safe feeling you get when you stay within your limits, it doesn't last. Over time, it becomes stagnation. It becomes regret. You'll look back one day and wonder what could have been if only you'd been brave enough to step into the unknown. But you're not like most people. You've already chosen the harder path. And that decision alone sets you apart. And let's talk about the rewards. Choosing growth might be hard, but it's also exhilarating, it's empowering, it's life-changing. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you gain something invaluable. Confidence. Confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Confidence in your resilience, your resourcefulness, your power. And that confidence becomes the fuel that propels you forward to even greater heights. So here's the bottom line. Choosing growth over comfort isn't just a sign of strength. It's a way of life. It's a commitment to yourself, a promise that you will never stop striving for more. It's the ultimate act of self-respect. Because when you choose growth, you're telling yourself that you are worth the effort, the sacrifice, and the temporary discomfort. If you're listening to this and you feel the pull to stay safe, to cling to what's easy, let this be your wake-up call. Comfort will never make you strong. It will never challenge you, never test you, never show you what you're truly made of. Growth will. So the next time you face a decision, ask yourself, will this choice help me grow, or will it keep me comfortable? Then choose growth. Choose the challenge. Choose the unknown. Because every time you do, you're building a legacy of strength that nothing can shake. This is your moment. Step into it. You already have what it takes: the courage, the resilience, the determination. Now, prove it to yourself. Choose growth over comfort, and watch as you become the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. Sign 3. You admit when you're wrong. Admitting when you're wrong is not a sign of weakness. It's a hallmark of true strength. Let me say this as directly as possible. The ability to own your mistakes separates the strong from the fragile. Most people spend their lives dodging accountability, deflecting blame, and living in denial because they're terrified of being seen as flawed. But not you. You are stronger than that. When you admit you're wrong, you stand tall in the face of vulnerability. Do you understand how rare that is? It's easy to puff up your chest, make excuses, or twist the narrative to avoid taking responsibility. But the real courage lies in saying, I was wrong, and I take responsibility for it. That's strength in its purest form. That's leadership. That's integrity. Why is this so important? Because admitting your mistakes is how you grow. It's how you evolve into the best version of yourself. Every time you take ownership of your misstep, you're saying, I am strong enough to face my flaws and learn from them. It's not about dwelling in guilt or shame. It's about using those moments as stepping stones to greatness. But let's be clear, admitting you're wrong isn't easy. It requires humility, and humility is a rare commodity in a world that glorifies ego and perfection. Society teaches us to fear being wrong. It whispers lies that admitting fault makes you weak, incapable, or less than. But here's the truth. Pretending you're never wrong only builds a fragile facade that will eventually crumble. True strength, the kind that commands respect and admiration, comes from authenticity. When you admit your mistakes, you show the world and yourself that you value truth over ego. You demonstrate that your character is more important than your pride. Do you know how powerful that is? People are drawn to those who are real, those who are willing to show their humanity. When you own your flaws, you give others permission to do the same. You create an atmosphere of trust, respect, and growth. Think about the alternative. What happens when you refuse to admit you're wrong? You cling to lies, build walls, and alienate the people who matter most. You stunt your own growth because you're too busy protecting a false image. And for what? To avoid a moment of discomfort? That's not strength. That's fear. But you're not afraid. You're here because you want to be better, stronger, and more unstoppable. Admitting you're wrong is how you get there. It's how you build resilience. It's how you sharpen your decision-making and deepen your relationships. Let's talk about relationships for a moment, because this is where admitting fault has its greatest impact. Whether it's with your family, friends, colleagues, or partner, the ability to say, I was wrong, is a game changer. It diffuses tension, repairs trust, and shows that you care more about the relationship than your own ego. It's a gift, one that not enough people are willing to give. But when you do, you elevate every connection you have. And let's not forget the example you set for others. When you admit your mistakes, you inspire those around you to do the same. You become a beacon of integrity in a world desperate for authenticity. You show people that strength isn't about being perfect, it's about being honest, accountable, and relentless in your pursuit of growth. But let me challenge you to take this even further. Don't just admit your mistakes. Embrace them. Celebrate the fact that you're willing to learn, adapt, and improve. Every mistake is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When you shift your mindset from I failed to I'm learning, you unlock a level of strength that most people will never reach. Here's the bottom line. Admitting when you're wrong is not just a sign of strength. It's a gateway to transformation. It's how you break free from the chains of ego and step into a life of authenticity and growth. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's humbling, but it's also empowering. So the next time you find yourself in the wrong, don't shy away. Don't let your ego dictate your actions. Stand up, own it, and say, I was wrong and I'm going to make it right. That's how you show the world and yourself what true strength looks like. Sign 4. You set boundaries and stick to them. Setting boundaries is not just a choice, it's a declaration of your worth. It's a bold statement that says, I value myself, my time, and my energy, and I will not allow anyone to take advantage of them. If you set boundaries, and most importantly, stick to them, you possess a strength that many aspire to but few achieve. Let's be clear. Boundaries are not walls. They're not about shutting people out or being difficult. Boundaries are about respect. Respect for yourself and respect for others. When you establish boundaries, you're drawing a line that says, this is where I stand, and this is how I expect to be treated. That's power. That's control over your own life. But make no mistake, setting boundaries isn't easy. It takes courage, it takes clarity, and it takes an unwavering commitment to your own well-being. It's easy to let people push you around, to say yes when you mean no, or to tolerate behavior that drains your energy. But every time you allow someone to overstep your boundaries, you're sending a message to them and to yourself that your needs don't matter. And that is unacceptable. Strength comes from standing firm, even when it's uncomfortable. When you set boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're creating a foundation for healthier relationships, greater productivity, and a more fulfilling life. But here's the catch. Boundaries only work if you enforce them. Think about it. How many times have you drawn a line only to let someone cross it because you didn't want to cause conflict? How often have you compromised your own well-being to keep the peace? Every time you do that, you're chipping away at your own strength. You're teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable, and that's a dangerous precedent to set. Real strength lies in sticking to your boundaries, no matter what. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it might upset people, but you are not responsible for their reactions. You are responsible for your own peace, your own energy, and your own life. When you enforce your boundaries, you're reclaiming your power. Boundaries also force people to respect you. Let me tell you this, people respect those who respect themselves. When you hold firm to your boundaries, you're showing the world that you know your value and won't settle for less. It's a level of self-assurance that is magnetic. People will gravitate toward you not because you're a pushover, but because you stand tall in your truth. But here's the hard part. Setting boundaries often means saying no. And let's be honest, saying no can be terrifying. You might fear disappointing others, losing opportunities, or being labeled as selfish. But let me tell you something. Saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. It's saying yes to your needs, your priorities, and your goals. When you stick to your boundaries, you free yourself from the burden of living for others. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve you. You stop bending over backward for people who don't appreciate it. And you start living authentically, unapologetically, and powerfully. Now, let's talk about the emotional toll of not setting boundaries. Without boundaries, you become a prisoner to others' expectations. You find yourself overwhelmed, stressed, and resentful because you're constantly giving without replenishing. That's not strength, it's self-destruction. And you deserve better than that. Sticking to your boundaries is an act of self-love. It's saying to yourself, I matter. My time matters. My energy matters. It's a form of self-care that protects you from burnout and keeps you aligned with your values. And let's be real, if you don't take care of yourself, who will? But here's the beauty of boundaries. They don't just benefit you, they benefit everyone around you. When you set clear expectations, you create healthier dynamics. You teach others how to treat you, and you model what self-respect looks like. That's powerful, that's transformative. So how do you start? First, get clear on what matters to you. What are your non-negotiables? What behaviors drain you? What do you need to thrive? Once you know your boundaries, communicate them with confidence. You don't need to justify, explain, or apologize. Your boundaries are valid because they are yours. And when someone tests your boundaries, and trust me, they will, stand firm. This is where your strength shines. It's not about being rude or confrontational. It's about being assertive and unwavering. It's about saying, I respect myself too much to compromise on this. Let me leave you with this. Boundaries are the cornerstone of a strong, fulfilling life. They protect your peace, amplify your energy, and pave the way for authentic connections. Sticking to your boundaries is not just an act of strength, it's an act of defiance against a world that constantly tries to pull you in every direction. Own your boundaries, defend them fiercely, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Sign 5. You don't let criticism define you. Criticism is inevitable. It comes at you from every angle. Friends, family, colleagues, strangers, and sometimes even your own inner voice. But here's the truth. Criticism does not define you. How you handle it does. And if you can face criticism without letting it shatter your confidence or derail your purpose, you possess a strength most people only dream of. Let's not sugarcoat this. Criticism stings. It pokes at your insecurities, highlights your flaws, and can make you question your worth. But here's the secret that separates the strong from the weak. Criticism is a reflection of the critic, not of you. It's their perspective, their projection, and often their fear. When you let their words consume you, you give them power over your life. Stop doing that. Take back control. A truly strong person listens to criticism without absorbing it. They evaluate the feedback, extract what's constructive, and discard the rest. This requires discipline. It requires clarity. It requires the unshakable belief that your value is not determined by someone else's opinion. Because here's the thing, no one knows your journey better than you. No one sees your struggles, your victories, your sacrifices. So why let their words carry more weight than your own truth? But this doesn't mean you ignore all criticism. Strength lies in discernment, knowing what to take in and what to reject. Constructive criticism can be a gift. It pushes you to grow, to improve, to become better. But destructive criticism, the kind meant to tear you down, that's poison. And the strong know how to recognize it and refuse to let it seep into their spirit. Let me tell you something. The world is full of critics. People will always have something to say about your choices, your goals, your methods. Some will criticize out of envy, others out of ignorance. The question is not whether criticism will come. It's how you'll respond when it does. Will you crumble under the weight of their words, or will you stand tall, unshaken, and move forward with even greater resolve? Strength is standing in the face of criticism and saying, I hear you, but I am not defined by you. It's having the courage to stay true to your path, even when others doubt you. It's refusing to let their opinions dim your light or weaken your resolve. But let's talk about the emotional side of this. Criticism can feel deeply personal, especially when it comes from people you care about. It can make you doubt your choices, your abilities, and even your worth. That's normal. But here's where strength comes in. You don't let those doubts take root. You feel them, acknowledge them, and then let them go. You remind yourself that your value is not up for debate. When you refuse to let criticism define you, you become unstoppable. You free yourself from the need for approval. You stop living for others and start living for yourself. And that is where true power lies. But this kind of strength doesn't happen overnight. It's a muscle you have to build, a skill you have to practice. Start by separating yourself from the criticism. You are not your mistakes. You are not your flaws. You are not their words. You are a complex, evolving, extraordinary individual, and no critique can capture the fullness of who you are. Then take action. Use criticism as fuel. Let it motivate you, challenge you, and push you to greater heights. Let it remind you of your resilience, your determination, your ability to rise above. Every time you overcome criticism, you grow stronger. Every time you prove them wrong, you step into your power. And here's the beauty of it. The more you refuse to let criticism define you, the less it affects you. Over time, you'll find that the sting of their words fades. You'll stop fearing their opinions and start focusing on your own goals, your own vision, your own truth. That's freedom. That's strength. Let me leave you with this. Criticism is a test. It's a challenge to see whether you'll stand firm in your truth or waver under their scrutiny. Strong people don't just pass this test. They rise above it. They use criticism as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. So the next time someone criticizes you, don't let it shake you. Don't let it define you. Let it remind you of your strength, your resilience, your ability to keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. Stand tall, stay strong, and never ever let criticism dim your light. Sign 6. You show compassion, even when it's hard. Compassion is not weakness. It is one of the greatest markers of true strength. To show kindness, empathy, and understanding when life has tested your patience, drained your energy, or even hurt your heart, that is the essence of resilience and courage. True strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about lifting them up, even when the world gives you every reason to look the other way. Let's be clear. Compassion is not easy. It demands more from you than anger, indifference, or retaliation ever will. It asks you to dig deep, to put aside your own pain or frustration, and to see others through a lens of humanity rather than judgment. It requires emotional stamina, self-awareness, and a level of maturity that few are willing to embrace. But if you're able to show compassion, especially when it's hard, you are displaying a level of strength that most people only aspire to. Why does it take strength to show compassion? Because compassion means vulnerability. It means opening your heart when it would be easier to shut it off. It means forgiving when bitterness feels more satisfying. It means understanding someone else's pain, even when your own wounds are still raw. This kind of strength doesn't come from a position of weakness or submission. It comes from an unshakable core of self-respect and confidence. Think about the times when you've been hurt, wronged, or misunderstood. The instinct is to lash out, to protect yourself by putting up walls or seeking revenge. But what happens when you choose compassion instead? You break the cycle of negativity. You refuse to let the situation define you or drag you down to a level that doesn't align with your values. Compassion in the face of difficulty is an act of defiance. It's a declaration that you will not be controlled by anger, fear, or resentment. But let's not romanticize this. It's not easy. Compassion challenges you. It tests your patience and your emotional endurance. It requires you to look beyond the surface of someone else's actions and understand the pain, insecurity, or confusion driving them. It forces you to step outside your comfort zone and offer grace when it feels undeserved. This is not the path of the faint-hearted. This is the path of those who possess incredible strength. Compassion is also a powerful force for connection. When you choose to show kindness, you create a ripple effect. Your actions inspire others to be better, to rise above their own struggles, and to pass on the kindness they've received. This kind of impact doesn't just change relationships, it changes lives. And it starts with the strength to be compassionate when it's most difficult. Let me address something important. Compassion is not about being a doormat. It's not about letting people walk all over you or tolerating toxic behavior. True compassion is rooted in boundaries. It's knowing when to offer grace and when to step away. It's recognizing that while you can care for others, you must also protect your own energy and well-being. Strength comes from balancing compassion with self-respect. Showing compassion when it's hard also reflects your resilience. It means you're not defined by your circumstances or the actions of others. You have the inner fortitude to rise above pettiness, anger, and grudges. You understand that kindness is not a weakness. It's a choice, a strategy, a way to lead with integrity. Strong people don't let the negativity of the world harden them. They stay true to their values, no matter how challenging the situation. Compassion doesn't just benefit others, it transforms you. It makes you more self-aware, more emotionally intelligent, and more grounded. It reminds you of your own humanity and strengthens your capacity for growth. Every time you choose compassion over anger, you reinforce your inner strength. You become someone who inspires, uplifts, and leads by example. So, how do you cultivate this kind of compassion? Start by recognizing your own triggers. When you feel hurt, defensive, or overwhelmed, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself that compassion is a choice, not a reaction. Ask yourself, what would it take to show kindness in this moment? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? Next, practice empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes, even if it's uncomfortable. Understand that everyone is fighting battles you cannot see. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it helps you respond with understanding rather than judgment. Finally, be compassionate toward yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Strength comes from acknowledging your own needs, forgiving your own mistakes, and treating yourself with the same kindness you offer others. In the end, compassion is a choice, one that defines the truly strong. It's not about being perfect or always getting it right. It's about trying, even when it's hard. It's about standing firm in your values, refusing to let the world make you bitter, and choosing kindness in a world that often forgets its power. Compassion is your superpower. Use it boldly. Let it transform your relationships, your community, and your own heart. And never forget, the strength to show compassion, especially when it's hard, is the hallmark of a truly extraordinary individual. Sign 7. You're comfortable being alone. Strength is often misunderstood. It's not about how loudly you speak or how many people you surround yourself with. It's about the power that comes from within. One of the clearest and most powerful signs of true strength is your ability to be comfortable being alone. This isn't about mere solitude, it's about standing tall in your independence, finding peace in your own company, and not relying on others to define your worth or happiness. Being comfortable alone is not easy in a world that glorifies constant connection. Society tells us that being surrounded by others equates to success, and that loneliness is something to be avoided at all costs. But the truth is, your ability to be alone is a testament to your resilience, self-awareness, and unshakable inner strength. If you can stand strong in your solitude, you possess something many people never achieve, the ability to be whole on your own. Why is this so powerful? Because being comfortable alone means you are free. You are free from the need for external validation, free from the fear of rejection, and free from the toxic dependencies that can sap your energy and self-worth. It means you are enough as you are, without needing others to fill your emotional gaps. That freedom is a cornerstone of strength. It says, I am in control of my own life, and I will not be defined by anyone else. This strength isn't about shutting others out or isolating yourself. It's about choosing to embrace solitude as a space for growth, reflection, and self-discovery. When you're comfortable being alone, you aren't afraid to face your thoughts, your fears, or even your weaknesses. You use that time to understand yourself on a deeper level, to clarify your goals, and to recharge your spirit. This self-awareness becomes a foundation for everything else in your life. Now, let's be real. Being alone can be uncomfortable at first. The silence can be deafening. The lack of distraction can force you to confront parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But this is where the magic happens. By sitting with discomfort, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. You show yourself that you are stronger than your fears, doubts, and insecurities. Over time, solitude becomes not something to fear, but something to cherish. Here's the thing about people who are comfortable being alone. They are unstoppable. They don't make decisions out of desperation or fear of abandonment. They don't cling to unhealthy relationships because they're afraid of being single. They don't need constant reassurance because they've already found it within themselves. This kind of inner peace is magnetic. It draws others to you not because you need them, but because your strength inspires them. When you're comfortable being alone, you set higher standards for your life. You don't settle for mediocre relationships, unfulfilling work, or shallow connections. You know your worth, and you're willing to wait for what aligns with your values and goals. This doesn't just make you strong, it makes you a leader. It shows others what's possible when you prioritize your own growth and happiness over society's expectations. But let me be clear, this strength doesn't come from arrogance or self-centeredness. It comes from humility and courage. It takes courage to face yourself, to acknowledge your flaws, and to work on them in the quiet moments when no one else is watching. It takes humility to recognize that being alone is not a weakness but an opportunity, a gift you give to yourself. If you've ever felt ashamed or afraid of being alone, it's time to shift your perspective. Solitude is not something to be avoided, it's something to be embraced. It's a chance to become your own greatest ally, to build a life that fulfills you, and to show the world that your strength comes from within. So how can you cultivate this strength? Start by embracing small moments of solitude. Turn off your phone, step away from distractions, and spend time with your thoughts. Reflect on your goals, your values, and your dreams. Use this time to reconnect with yourself and to build a foundation of self-trust. Next, challenge the negative beliefs you may have about being alone. Being alone doesn't mean you're unworthy, unloved, or unwanted. It means you're strong enough to stand on your own, to take responsibility for your own happiness, and to live life on your own terms. Remind yourself of this truth every time doubt creeps in. Finally, practice gratitude for the time you have with yourself. Use solitude as an opportunity to recharge, to learn, and to grow. Celebrate the freedom it gives you to live authentically and to make choices that align with your true self. In the end, being comfortable alone is not just a sign of strength. It's a superpower. It's the ability to find peace, purpose, and happiness within yourself. It's the foundation for building meaningful relationships, pursuing your passions, and living a life that's true to who you are. So own your solitude. Stand tall in your independence. And remember, the ability to be comfortable being alone is not just a hidden sign of strength, it's a declaration of your unstoppable power. Sign 8. You keep moving forward after failure. Failure is inevitable. It's the great equalizer. No one escapes it. No matter who you are, where you come from, or how prepared you think you are, failure will knock at your door. But here's the question that separates the strong from the weak. What do you do after failure? True strength isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how you respond when it comes. And if you keep moving forward after failure, you are already showing the world something few others can. The kind of resilience, courage, and unwavering resolve that only the strongest possess. When failure hits, it's tempting to fall into despair. It's easy to want to quit. It's easy to listen to the voice inside that tells you, you're not good enough. This isn't worth it. You'll never make it. But here's the harsh truth. Those who crumble under the weight of failure, who stay down when they fall, are not strong. They are simply people who have not yet learned the power of perseverance. But you rise. You rise because you understand something deep within you that others do not. Failure is not the end. It is the beginning of something even greater. When you fall, you don't stay there. You don't wallow in self-pity or defeat. You pull yourself back up, dust off the dirt, and keep moving forward. Every setback is merely a setup for your comeback. You must embrace the fact that failure is an essential part of the process. It is the furnace in which your strength is forged. Every time and get back up, you add a new layer of resilience, experience, and wisdom to your character. You don't just bounce back, you evolve. You grow stronger, more refined, and more prepared for the challenges ahead. Each failure is a lesson, if you're willing to learn from it. This is where real power lies, in your ability to keep moving forward after failure. It's the refusal to let setbacks dictate your future. It's the ability to take your hits, stand tall, and walk with a sense of purpose, knowing that nothing, no failure, no mistake, no obstacle, is powerful enough to stop you from reaching your goals. Think about the greats, people who have changed the world. Do you think they never failed? Do you think they never faced moments where it seemed like all was lost? Absolutely not. What made them great wasn't their perfection or their smooth sailing. It was their relentlessness. The reason they reached heights others only dream of is because they kept going when everyone else would have quit. You too have this ability. You have the strength to press on when things look bleak. You can choose to keep moving forward, to keep fighting, to keep showing up. This is your power. This is the mark of someone who is unbreakable. What does it take to keep moving forward after failure? First, it takes personal responsibility. You must own your mistakes. It's easy to blame others or the circumstances around you. But real strength comes when you look failure in the face and say, "This is on me, but I will learn, I will adapt, and I will succeed." You don't deflect and you don't avoid responsibility. You face it head on and then you take action. Second, it takes a deep, unwavering belief in your own potential. If you failed but still believe that your vision is possible, that your success is inevitable, then no failure will hold you back. It's this unshakable faith in yourself that fuels your relentless drive to keep moving. Third, it requires resilience. Resilience is the ability to bend but never break. When failure knocks you down, you don't crumble. You rise. You rise stronger, wiser, and more determined than before. You get up with fire in your eyes and a determination to prove the world wrong. You know that failure isn't personal, it's part of the game. You learn, you adapt, and you move on. Lastly, it requires the ability to take calculated risks. You can't play it safe forever. Those who never fail are the ones who never try. You must be willing to go out on a limb, to take the risks that others shy away from. And yes, some of those risks will lead to failure, but that's how you win. You take those risks, fail, learn, and try again with even more fire and passion. Think about it. Every failure is another chance to refine your strategy, to find a new approach, to come back stronger. But the key is to keep moving. You keep moving because you know that success is not an event. It's a journey. It's the result of persistence, grit, and the ability to keep moving forward, even when the road is tough. It's the ability to stand tall when the weight of the world is pushing you down. In the end, the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is simple. It's not about never falling. It's about what you do after you fall. If you keep moving forward, if you refuse to let failure define you, then you are invincible. You are unstoppable. You are the living embodiment of strength. So when failure comes, and it will come, remember this. The real test of your strength is not in how you avoid failure, but in how you rise from it. Keep moving forward, and in time, you will achieve greatness. Sign 9. You stay true to your values. Do you want to know what separates the truly strong from the rest? It's not about physical prowess or how much power you can command. It's about an internal strength, a backbone made of integrity, conviction, and an unshakable commitment to your values. The strongest people aren't swayed by the crowd. They don't bend or break when faced with pressure. They stay true to who they are and what they believe in, no matter what. When the storm hits, when everyone around you starts compromising and cutting corners, the strongest among us stand firm. They don't need to justify their beliefs. They don't need the approval of others. They don't sell out to convenience or take the easy way out. Why? Because they know that their values are the foundation of their strength. They know that without them, they are nothing. You see, staying true to your values is not just a nice idea. It's a powerful act of courage. It's an assertion that you will not be bent, that you will not be shaped by external forces, that you will not allow others to dictate what is important to you. In a world where everything is negotiable, where every principle seems up for grabs, staying true to your values is the ultimate form of personal responsibility. Ask yourself, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? What principles guide your decisions, shape your actions, and give you direction when the world around you is uncertain? If you don't know the answer to these questions, it's time to stop and reflect, because that's where your strength lies. Your values are your North Star. They are the unwavering guide that will keep you on track when everyone else is lost in the noise. Strength is the ability to stand alone in your conviction. There's a reason why true strength isn't about numbers, popularity, or consensus. It's about your ability to stand alone when necessary. It's about being so solid in your beliefs that even when the world around you is pressuring you to conform, you refuse to compromise. You don't do what's easy. You do what's right. You stay true to your values even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs you something, whether that's friends, opportunities, or approval. This level of commitment requires immense courage. It's easy to go with the flow. It's easy to blend in, to follow the crowd. But what does that really accomplish? It takes no strength to be a follower. It takes no strength to compromise yourself for the sake of convenience. True strength is in the refusal to bend to societal pressures. It's in saying, this is who I am, and I will not sacrifice my integrity for anyone or anything. True strength is built on the bedrock of integrity. You don't build lasting strength by appeasing others or by doing things that contradict your deepest beliefs. You build strength by being who you are, unapologetically, consistently. When you stay true to your values, you build a reputation of trustworthiness and reliability. People know they can count on you, not because you're popular, not because you're liked, but because they know your word is your bond. You say what you mean, and you mean what you say. That's where real power comes from. And let's be clear about something. Staying true to your values doesn't mean you don't grow. It doesn't mean you don't evolve. It doesn't mean you're rigid, unbending, or incapable of change. It means you align your growth with your core beliefs. You refuse to compromise your integrity just to fit into a mold that society has created for you. Real strength is tested in moments of adversity. When things are easy, when everything is going your way, it's easy to say you have strong values. But it's when adversity strikes, when you are under pressure, when you are tempted to cut corners, when doing the right thing will cost you something, that your values truly come to the test. Will you compromise? Will you look the other way? Or will you stand firm, even when it's difficult? This is where the strongest people shine. When the world is telling them to take shortcuts, to lie, to cheat, or to deceive, they stand tall. When everyone else is willing to sell their soul for success or convenience, they remain true to themselves. Their strength isn't just in what they say, but in what they do when it counts. Being true to your values is not a choice, it's a responsibility. If you want to be truly strong, you must accept that your values are not negotiable. You are responsible for maintaining your integrity, and that responsibility never ends. It's easy to be swayed in the moment by convenience or pressure, but that's when the strongest people rise to the occasion. They know that every action they take is a reflection of their values, and they act accordingly, no matter the cost. If you're tempted to bend your values, remember this: the true cost of compromising yourself is far greater than any immediate gain you might receive. It may seem easy to sell out, but that kind of success is empty. It leaves you hollow. It leaves you knowing, deep down, that you've compromised who you are, and that's a price you can't afford. Strength is in the consistency of character. It's in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It's in the choices you make when there's no applause, no recognition, no reward. Strength is in being the same person in the dark as you are in the light. It's in knowing that no matter where you are, who you're with, or what the circumstances are, you will always stand by your values. When you stay true to your values, you are unshakable. You are immovable. You are the force that cannot be ignored. And when you do this consistently, people begin to trust you, not because of your words, but because of your actions. They begin to see that you are a person of integrity, and that's the kind of strength that attracts respect, admiration, and influence. Conclusion: in a world that is constantly changing, the one thing you can rely on is your commitment to your values. When you stay true to your beliefs, you prove to the world and to yourself that you are someone who is unshakable, someone who can be counted on, someone who is truly strong. Your values are your foundation. They are the bedrock upon which your strength is built. The stronger your values, the stronger you become. Stand firm, stay true, and never, ever compromise. That is the path to true, lasting strength. We have more interesting videos about Stoicism and the way of life. If you want to watch a video about 10 keys to developing a magnetic and unforgettable presence, please click link above in the video. If you like the video or you don't want to miss further videos about Stoicism, please subscribe. Sign 10. You celebrate others' success. This is it, the real test. You want to know what true strength is? It's not in how much you can achieve for yourself. It's not in the accolades you've accumulated, the trophies on your shelf, or the titles you've worn with pride. True strength is in your ability to celebrate others' success, to genuinely cheer for those around you when they rise. It's in your willingness to lift people up, to inspire others, even when it means putting your own ego aside. Ask yourself, can you genuinely celebrate the success of others without feeling threatened? Can you give credit where it's due, even when their success shines in areas where you've struggled? If your answer is yes, then congratulations. You're tapped into one of the most powerful, rare qualities of all. The ability to celebrate others' wins is a defining trait of someone with incredible strength. You might think it's easier to cheer for others when you're at the top of your game, but true strength is measured in how you behave when you're not on top. In the moments when someone else takes the spotlight, do you stand in the shadows, stewing in jealousy, bitterness, or insecurity? Or do you step forward and applaud their victory, knowing that their success doesn't diminish your own potential? This is where the strongest people show up. Strength is found in lifting others up. True strength is not about dominating, it's about elevating. It's about knowing that the success of others does not detract from your own worth. It's about having the courage to put your own self-interests aside for a moment to genuinely celebrate the triumphs of those around you. In doing so, you become a beacon of positivity, a force of support, and someone others turn to for inspiration. Every time you cheer on someone else's victory, you're reaffirming a deep belief that there is enough success to go around. That's strength. You know that the success of others is not a reflection of your limitations, but a sign that the world is abundant with opportunity. The strongest people don't fear someone else's shine. They recognize that there is space for everyone to succeed. Celebrating others' success requires immense emotional maturity. It's easy to get caught in the trap of comparison. We live in a world where success is constantly measured, and the temptation to look at others and feel like we're not doing enough is overwhelming. But strength is shown not by avoiding this temptation, but by overcoming it. When you can look at someone else's success and instead of feeling jealousy or insecurity, you feel joy and pride in their achievements, you've tapped into something greater. That's emotional maturity. It takes real emotional strength to celebrate others when the world constantly pushes you to compete with them. Society pushes you to see everyone as a threat, but the strong person understands that everyone has their own journey, their own struggles, and their own victories. Your role is not to diminish those victories, but to honor and celebrate them. In doing so, you unlock the true power of connection, community, and collaboration. Celebrating others means you believe in the power of collaboration over competition. The strongest people understand that success is not a zero-sum game. They know that the more we lift each other up, the more we all rise. It's not about tearing others down to make ourselves feel better. It's about building a collective momentum. When you celebrate the success of others, you're essentially saying, I am confident in my own path, and I have enough faith in myself that someone else's success doesn't change my own potential. That's strength. In fact, some of the most powerful leaders in history have built empires by empowering others. They didn't hoard success for themselves, they shared it. They celebrated the victories of those around them and built teams that thrived. Why? Because they understood that when one person rises, everyone benefits. This is a mentality rooted in abundance, not scarcity. It's a mindset that fuels lasting success, because true strength isn't about getting to the top alone. It's about helping others get there, too. Celebrate others' success to inspire greatness within yourself. There's a profound truth here. When you celebrate others, you're also affirming your own worth. By acknowledging the strengths and accomplishments of others, you create an environment where greatness is normalized. You inspire greatness in yourself. When you see someone else achieve what you desire, rather than feeling threatened, you can turn that feeling into inspiration. That's a person who is truly strong. They don't see others' success as competition, they see it as a sign that their own dreams are possible. Every time you celebrate someone else's victory, you open yourself up to the idea that you too can achieve that kind of success. It's a mindset that moves you from a place of envy to one of possibility. You stop measuring your success against others' achievements and start measuring it by your own growth, progress, and journey. True strength is not measured by what you've done, but by how you elevate others. At the end of the day, when you reflect on your life, what will matter? Will it be the accolades you've accumulated, the wealth you've built, or the recognition you've received? Or will it be the lives you've touched, the people you've inspired, and the ways you've lifted others up? True strength is not in being number one. It's in being the person who can genuinely and wholeheartedly celebrate the success of others, knowing that by doing so, you create a world where everyone can thrive. Celebrating others' success is a hallmark of incredible strength. It requires self-assurance, emotional maturity, and the understanding that true power is in elevating those around you. It's not about comparing, competing, or begrudging others their victories. It's about believing in the abundance of the world and recognizing that when one person rises, we all rise. By celebrating the success of others, you become a force for positivity and growth, and in doing so, you build a legacy of strength that transcends individual accomplishments. Till the next time, stay strong and live wisely.